Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little bit longer than I really am comfortable with. I had actually intended the Monster Kid Writer YouTube channel to be updated at least once, if not twice a week, but I'm incredibly busy and I may have even set myself up for failure trying to do something like that as we move into the spookiest time, the most magical time of the year, October. October is my holy month. This is the month where everything is supposed to feel good and restorative, and I'm supposed to have this sense of renewal as I move into fall and embrace all the spooky that mainstream lets me enjoy publicly out in the world. But it does make for a busy time, and this year it's even busier than normal because I had to take a second job, and with the exception of this past weekend, I'm basically working every single day in the month of October. So, I've been busy. What did I do this past weekend? Well, I'm going to talk about that in the next video that I do here, so stay tuned for that. But it did have something to do with tentacles, so I'll just leave it at that. So, I've been busy. Like I said, I've been working this second job and all that, and I'm taking notes with me everywhere I go. Whether I'm doing the day job or the second job or whatever, wherever I'm at, I've got a notebook. Lovecraft used to call it his everyday book, basically a book where I'm taking notes of everything that's coming into my head that might feed the imagination in some way. Now, I have gone through some of my old notes that I've taken from like at the beginning of the month. I have no idea what Midnight Rider is in reference to, or riding a horseback in the middle of the night. I don't know why I wrote that down in my everyday book. No clue where that came from. So maybe next time if I get a good idea, I'll try to leave better notes so I know just what the heck I'm referring to when I look at it a week later. Anyway, I've not just been busy with the day job and the second job. I've been working really, really hard to get the revisions done for the first Mark Temple book. They're finished. Finally. And I finally got my hands on the actual print edition with the updated cover and all the weird little typos that had crept in. Most of them are gone. I'm not going to say all because I'm sure the minute I open up the book and start flipping through pages, I'm going to find something. But I'm done washing my hands of it. I'm comfortable with it being out in the world the way that it is now. I know the book's a couple of years old at this point, but it still always bugged me that there were these typos in there. And some other things that I wanted to update as well, like the author photo. I know it's a small minor thing, but I've changed my look since then. Grown the beard, shaved the head, which is not something that I did back then, and I wanted to update the author photo. Does it make a huge difference on the book itself? Probably not, but it makes me feel better, and because I have control over it since it's independently published, I'm able to make those changes. I'm not going to make any more changes to the first Mark Temple book. I'm going to focus all of my energy now on moving forward, for the most part. I have Mark Temple stories that I need to get done, and I've got that superhero novel that I need to work on, and I think I found something that's going to help me out here. Deadlines. I may have found a way to create a deadline for my superhero novel, which I think will help motivate me. I'm going to try it out, fingers and tentacles crossed, to see if this deadline helps. What is this deadline I'm talking to? Well, I could easily just circle a date on a calendar or set up a Google alert or reminder and say, that's my deadline. That's my arbitrary self-imposed deadline. No, I'm going to go with something a little bit more outside of my own sphere of influence. There's a convention happening sometime next year that I'm going to apply for to be a panelist on, and I'd like to submit a panel about superhero fiction, and that panel needs to be submitted by November. The convention happens at the beginning of 2023. So my plan is submit the panel idea for superhero fiction, talking about superhero prose, and then use the panel as the launch for book one of the 6-week rotation superhero series of novels that I want to do. What did I say at the beginning of this video about setting myself up for failure? I don't think that's going to happen this time. This actually feels really good and positive for me, so I'm going to move forward on that. Also, I've got Mark Temple stories that I've got to finish. I've got to get done. I've spent so much time working on revising book 1 of the Mark Temple stories. It really put me back into the headset, into the mindset, into the voice of Mark Temple. So I think I'm ready, finally ready, to make a real effort to get book 2, Call for a Quote, done. Yeah, I think I just revealed the title of book 2. I think I've mentioned it before in various conversations and such, but officially here, Mark Temple, Call for a Quote. That is the second book of the Supernatural Solutions book series that'll be coming out. And we'll have at least 3, I'm hoping for more, but at least 3 Mark Temple stories. Some of which are inspired by various things that I've encountered or seen or heard at my various jobs lately. So we'll see how that goes. Trying to think of anything else that's coming up, writing-wise, Now, I kind of said earlier something about looking forward and moving forward with my writing. I'm not sure why this happened. But last night, at an event that I was at, some thoughts about a project that I started 10 years ago and never finished started bubbling to the top of my brain, started bubbling to the surface. And it felt like one of those things that I always wanted to do, I always wanted to finish. And while many parts of my online persona and life have moved on, I still owe a lot to who I am online, my brand, so to speak, to my very first podcast, Mail Order Zombie. And there was a writing project that I wanted to do back when I was producing the Mail Order Zombie podcast that, I started pulling up the old documents, and I fortunately had emailed them to myself many moons ago and even saved them in an old Dropbox account. So I'm looking at this document, and I don't know if it would be very difficult to actually dust it off and finish it off, and then send it off into the world. We'll see. It might make an interesting stocking stuffer, and maybe I still have a little bit of cred left in the zombie movie fandom online that I can call upon to promote this book. We'll see. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the next video when I tell you a little bit more about what I did this past weekend that helped to further solidify what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Vague enough? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. And let me know down below if deadlines work for you. Do you set self-imposed deadlines? Do you work with deadlines set by other people or publishers or that sort of thing? I'd be real curious to hear what you think. I didn't even talk about the Sword and Sorcery story that I started dusting off and started working on again with the idea that I'm going to use a very small window that publishers have open for submissions as another deadline to finish this thing and get it out into the world. Let me know how deadlines work for you. And of course, please thumbs up, like, subscribe, share, and do whatever it is that YouTube needs you to do to make sure that you are kept up to date with everything happening here at the Monster Kid Writer YouTube channel. My name's Derek Kemp Cook, and thanks. I really need a catchy sign-off line. I need like a slogan or a go right something.